awesome. Yeah. Okay. So let me come this way. Now, I've spent some time with Maui, so he's acting a little bit different than he normally would. He normally would not let anybody pet him, and he'd be barking the whole time. Now, in this video, this is Maui, by the way, and in this video, and you see how that kind of little hand movement that he did with his mouth? We've been working with him for a while. I think he's close to his limit, which is why we're doing this. We're going to end the session here shortly. But basically, in this video, we're going to go over tips and tricks that you can use if you have a dog that's fearful of humans, which is Maui's issue. Now, Maui came to his guardians with a fear of humans. The guardians hired or won a dog trainer to come by and help with it, and she just sat and throw treats at him the whole time. It's a good concept you can use in some situations, but the dog is so worked up it won't eat a treat. Throwing treats at it's not going to help, and evidently all he did was bark for an hour. As you can see, we're buddies now. I wouldn't say buddies, but we made good progress. So in this video, basically I want to talk about different things that you can do to help him get over this fear of humans. So basically the first thing that I did when I came in is after I met him, he was barky. I had his guardians put him on a no-slip collar. We used the special twisted leash on the martingale, and the guardian who's filming this and I went outside. She was holding the leash. I was in the front. We started walking down the street, and after we passed about 2 houses, he kind of settled down a little bit. She handed me the leash. I had her go back home. I want to have you guys do this with other people. Now make sure the person you're doing, he does lunge at times away. You gonna shake for me, buddy? And at one point he did. If I didn't have a firm grip, he would have run away. So thank you, shake. So make sure that whoever you're doing it is got a good grip. Now we want to let the dog walk wherever the heck he wants as long as it's safe. So he kept on going behind me. So I just would take the leash and I'd go from hand to hand and let him go this way and that way. I'm not pulling him. I'm not telling him what he can or can't do. All I want to do is move forward, be around this human. The human should not try to pet him. Yeah, he's probably not going to do that for the humans. But basically, the human, what we want him to do is practice being with the human. Yes, okay, you want a treat, I'll hook you up. There you go. Without the human trying to pet him. A lot of humans, we try to think, I'm going to pet you and show you I'm a good person, but if the dog doesn't trust you, touching the dog is not going to make them feel any more comfort. Now, we took a lot of time, and so because of that, now I'm getting this interaction with him, which he's never done this with anybody outside the family, correct? Okay, so basically what we want to do is go about 2 houses away. You're going to hand the leash to the person when he's somewhat calm, and that person's just going to walk him around the block. Now what I did was, he started, as soon as we turned the corner and we hit some shade, he went and plopped down. Anytime he does that, now this is such a hot day, it feels like we are literally in Maui. So whenever he plops down, the person is to stop and sit down with him. If a dog sits or lays down, it's a good indicator of them feeling calm, confident, and comfortable. So if he sits down, now I think he was sitting down because of the heat, but he was taking advantage of the shade. I sat down with him and we kind of hung out for a little bit. Then after about 1 to 2 minutes, we got up and walked down the street, down the opposite street. Eventually we got to a point where, Maui, come, good job. That little jump you saw is because he has a lot of cortisol in his blood, and that's the stress hormone, and that's going to make everything harder. So we need him to practice being calm. So this walk allows him to practice being with someone. You do a couple of breaks where you stop and he sits, and the person should not be trying to pet him or talk to him or anything. All I did was I said the name Maui in a happy sing-songy voice, Maui, 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 as we walked. I want the dog to hear me saying his name. But again, I'm earning his trust because I'm not trying to do this, which is what everybody tries to do. Careful your finger, I think it's probably in the shot. There we go. So once we got back, I kept him on the leash. Now, and I sat over here on the chair, and I was actually doing a little flooding, which meant I stepped on the leash to not allow him to run away. We can have your guest do that as well. But when the guest is doing this, the guest should not try to pet him or talk to him, and he is eye contact dominant. So one of the things the guardians, if I don't have it above or in this write-up on, if you're looking at this Dog Gone Problems, I want you guys to practice a focus exercise. Focus exercise, basically I wait for the dog to look in my face, I raise the treat to my nose, and then I go straight to his, and I say focus. This helps the dog practice looking at someone in the face and having something good happen. Focus. And so this is something that the guest can do with him if he feels comfortable and if he'll take it. I don't think he will. So now the flooding is a little bit of force, and I try to be very force-free. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave them on the leash when they come back from their walk. You guys should be sitting down, and what's going to happen is Maui's, I'm sure, going to go over here and bark at the person. Well, if he's barking a lot, we could do a little bit of the flooding, and as soon as Maui sits or lies down, the person should take their foot off the leash. We just don't want Maui to lurch away. Then what I did was I started tossing treats on the ground, and I let Maui go and get the treat, and then walk away. And each time I did this, I tried to throw the treat a little bit closer to me, a little bit closer to me. Eventually, I started actually putting the treats on my shoe. I put one on the floor and one on my shoe. And he would come and lick the one on the floor, but wouldn't do the one on my shoe. After a while, he finally did it. I took the ones off my shoe. Now, each time I did it, I put one on the floor and one on the shoe, and he came and get this one, and he left this one. Well, next time I do 2 treats again. And he kept on getting the one on the floor, but eventually my foot had like 5 treats on it, and we called that a jackpot. And eventually, when he was calm enough, he came over and took them. Now, if he won't take a treat, that's his way of saying, I'm too stressed out to eat. I have too much cortisol in my blood, which just like us, we get in a fight, we're not going to be immediately hungry afterwards, even if we were on a fast before. So what I want the dog to do is practice approaching and then moving away. And each time he approaches and the person doesn't pet him or do anything bad, and something good happens, then he's going to build a little bit of confidence from that over and over again. Now, eventually, he should get to the point where you can actually get him to take the treat out of the hand. Now, when I do a treat out of the hand, I usually do it like this. I hold it out, they take the treat, watch. He's going to come back and lick my hand a second time. Or do that. There we go. There's the lick. So I hold it there, and it gives him a chance to sniff me again. Now, if we have a guest that comes over a lot, or something that we really want to set him up for success, we do something called a critical emotional response. Introduce the guest with scent only. So what you might want to do is have the guest get like a hand towel, have them mow their lawn or whatever, wipe their sweat off of it, and then put it in a Ziploc bag and seal it and give it to you. Then what I would do is I would have treats in one hand and the deal in the other hand, the hand towel. So I go like this, he smells it, and then I drop a treat, and I pull it away. So I'm going this motion, back and forth. And eventually you'll figure out that I dropped the treat. There we go. So he gets a scent of the person, then that goes away, and he gets the treat. Well, now we're starting to associate the scent of the person with getting a reward. And by the time the person comes over, he's already smelled them several times and had a positive association. So this is a great way we can put a dog in position to succeed. Now, we're also going to amplify this by the guardians were petting him when he was nervous and anxious because, like humans, that's what we do to try to placate a child. But for a dog, anything your dog is doing when you pet it is what you're reinforcing. This includes unbalanced state of mind. So that little feint right there, that's the sort of thing that he's going to do to say, I don't like what you're doing. And I think he's just confused because he's just not used to being around people that he doesn't know and being able to touch them and have them interact with him. But the idea is we want to create these positive associations. Now, if somebody comes over and they do the walk and the walk goes well and they come in and he won't come and take the treats, there's nothing wrong with that. It might take 2 or 3 visits. The person should avoid eye contact and not do any of those things. Eventually, we'd like the person to be able to just have a treat. Well, we want to wait until the dog is coming and taking the treats off the person's foot before they try to start hand offering a treat. And offer it out there, but don't say anything. If he doesn't take it, that's fine. Eventually, and you could drop it on the floor. And sometimes if I drop one here and he won't come this far, I'll put one here. So I kind of breadcrumb him to it. But eventually we want to get to the point where when the person feels, the dog will actually take treats out of the person's hand. Then the next step is when they come over, we want to do that treat tossing back and forth a little bit more. And then every time the dog looks in the eye, raise a treat to your nose, focus, and say focus. Now the guardians, you guys should be practicing the focus exercise at home, independent of that. So he's already going to kind of be clued in and understand how this game works. But this helps him practice looking people in the eye, not perceiving it as a threat, and getting treats, which creates a positive association with the person. The last little thing we want to do is we can set him up for success. Crash, that's kind of a crash. By exercising him before the person comes here. These dogs are both, there's another puppy, he's outside, but they're both under-exercised. And the exercise they get is rambunctious behavior between the two of them, which is not practicing self-control and discipline. So basically what I like the guardians to do is try to arrange to have 1 or 2 people come by each week and recreate the situation that we just went through. So, he associates a walk and then treats and all the fun stuff. And when the person leaves, if he doesn't get to take the treats from the person, give the person a handful of treats when they get up to leave, have them get up and drop a treat on their way to the door. Now, he probably won't take them until after the person leaves, and make sure that Max, the puppy, is not around, because Max will come in and gobble them up. We want him to associate when the people come, they drop treats. And again, it's another way to create a positive association. All right, what do you say, buddy? You give me a shake? Shake. This is Maui, a very fearful dog who's getting better. And these are some tips and tricks you can use if you have a dog that's fearful around meeting new people.